Hi guys, welcome to your July 2nd, 2025 daily reading. Today is Wednesday, July 2nd, 2025. What can we expect for today? Make sure to check out the channel for your July 2025 readings and all the pick-a-cards that I have. Those are always fun to do. So let's see what today, Wednesday, July 2nd, has in store for us. Garden, the lady, the coffin, the dog, and the storks. Okay. So something today, something about the ending of something significant in your life is sort of talked about or worked through today in some way. The coffin talks about a difficult transition from something into something else. It's the death of something or someone or some relationship dynamic, possibly even, that ends, something that ends that you're sort of remembering or thinking about or mulling over today. It may not necessarily end today, but the death of something that happened is what is being felt today or kind of worked through, is again what I'm getting. You might have therapy today or your therapy session. I see that sort of, it talks about when you have a dog, sometimes the dog sort of means like that person that helps you through difficult situations. It's a good friend. It's someone that you trust. This is like your support system. So that's why I say therapist. So if you have a therapy appointment today, it might be something related to do with that, where you guys are kind of working through what you have going on or what's gone on in the past. This could also be a mentor or colleague at work that you sort of look up to if you've lost a job recently or have been, have had any kind of issue, maybe even failing a class. You sort of talk to a professor to sort of get you through that. But it feels it feels significant to you in some way. You want to start this new season of life after this death of this project, this job, this relationship. And I think that you're working through it in a way where you're looking at the ending of this particular relationship or job or career, whatever it is, as it's closing up that particular unit and then moving forward, and you're looking at how you can move forward after that. So this is talking about like the aftermath of the ending that happened in your life. If this is someone close to you that that you've lost in your life, and that could be losing them to death or losing them to sort of just a natural break in the relationship, you're working through that. You're walking through it emotionally. You are feeling some of that residue that was left and cleaning it up and trying to see how you can get through to a more stable, happier place, seeing things for what they were and just sort of digesting it so that you can get to a better place. It also, there's this sort of message related to how can I interact with others after this passing. So if you're recently single because you were in a relationship, you're digesting the relationship and what happened and the ending of it, but then also seeing, how can I start again? How am I even going to be or act with people that I potentially am romantically, interested in? Like, how does that go? How do I get back into the dating pool after being in a relationship for so long? Or how do I do this? If it's a job and a career that's ended and you've already gone through the transition of coming out of it, you're kind of looking at it with like from the perspective of now what? Like, how do I get back into this industry? How do I, if you, for example, stayed home and you were a house parent for a long time and now you're going to be entering the workspace again, how do I do that? How do I interview well? How do I, get back out there? It's been years since I had to do this. If it's a change I guess it could be a change in industry, but if it's a change in job and you've been unemployed for a while, again, it's the same thing of like ramping up. Like, how do I do this? 8 of Wands, 9 of Cups, Ace of Swords. Wow. The Magician, And the Queen of Swords. So you may have been, if you don't already have an opportunity to start over, you will. And that's sort of what you're trying to figure out. I think it's because you were presented an opportunity, whether it's a new job or a new interview and you haven't interviewed in a while, or it's a new opportunity to maybe go and find someone new. That has you in the space of thinking back to what happened and what died and the prior relationship or job that you had, and looking at like, okay, how do I do this, right? So I have this opportunity, now what? With the Eight of Wands, I see a lot of momentum and change also coming in. The Ace of Swords, you're going to have an epiphany. Something's going to become very clear to you today, specifically about the actions that you took in the past and how that might be something that you change moving forward in the future, because you can change the things that you did in the past. If there were things that you, whether or not you regret things that you did in the past, and these are actions specifically, I'm not really getting words. But if there are things that you did in the past that you don't want to do anymore, today is that day where you're reevaluating that stuff so that you can move forward. And I am getting the Judgment card in my head, even though, because that's from my reevaluation or recalibration card. But I am getting that with the Queen of Swords, the Magician, and the Ace of Swords. So if a workspace environment, for example, maybe you weren't so good at setting boundaries, or maybe you set too many boundaries to where you weren't able to allocate the correct amount of like resources that you needed to get a project done. You're sort of thinking back to that and not wanting to rewrite. Like, you want to rewrite history. You don't want to make the same mistakes again. You don't want to commit the same mistakes again. If it's in a relationship thing, again, it might even really be related to boundaries within the relationship. If you didn't set strong boundaries in the past, you're looking at, how do I do that moving forward in the future? Or if you ignored red flags, right, in the beginning of a relationship and then it finally ended and you realize, well, I was right from the very beginning. How do you not ignore the red flags moving forward? You have the Eight of Cups. This one, the Fool, the Four of Coins, the High Priestess, and the Nine of Cups again. You have it twice. This opportunity that's been presented to you, with this opportunity that you have before you, is a wish fulfillment. You are going to get what you want, what you've desired, and you already know what you want and what you've wished for. You will be getting that. Just so you know, though, we make wishes all the time and sometimes they change, right? Because maybe we improve on them, but you are getting something that you wished for. If it's a new opportunity at like love and romance or career, you're getting that for sure. But I think that you need to, or you are sort of reflecting on how you can, now that you have this opportunity, how can you actually make it come into fruition? How can you further manifest the outcome that you want this time, not the outcome that you've had in the past? You have the High Priestess and the Magician. Wow. Cards 1 and 2. You are going to need to merge both your action self with your wishing self, right? So wishes don't manifest on their own. You have to go out and do something to try to have it move forward and move towards you, right? So this today is about, but you can't have too much of one thing or the other, right? You can't just sit and wish and wish and wish and wait for something to come to you into your life and change things. It doesn't happen that way. In the same vein, you can't go out and just, throw all you've got at everything that anything that moves, and then like you don't have anything to sort of show, for it in the end. You can't, there's nothing really to show for. So the High Priestess and the Magician is about combining those two parts of you to make this fruitful, to make the best of this opportunity that's being handed to you. It's also starting anew. So you have the Fool, the Magician, and the High Priestess, 0, 1, and 2. This is starting over. You are starting over, and you have this here with the new season of life. You have everything that you need to be successful in this new season, and today is all about how do I move this forward? How do I get the best out of this opportunity that's being given to me? You, in the past, have chosen to walk away. I think you chose yourself. I don't always say that with the Eight of Cups because it doesn't always feel like you have to choose yourself, but you did choose yourself in the past. And that's why the universe is rewarding you with this brand new beginning. You have a brand new beginning here with the Storks, the Nine of Cups, and the Nine of Cups. You're being rewarded. You just have to give it all you've got to make sure that you're successful. And I think a good amount of, retrospect, a good amount of reflection on what you've done in the past and how to improve that, your actions in the future, that's what's going to make this next season of your life so much more successful than the last one. All right, guys. Well, that's what I have for you Wednesday, July 2nd. I hope you enjoyed it, and make sure to tune in tomorrow for tomorrow's. Take care. Bye.